questions to ask, right? I campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming on even deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch along, still the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South, they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
Yes, guys, welcome back to Eagle-Eyed Football. And, you know, we're trying to keep this content up with the international break. Get all the international games are over. Back to regularly scheduled programming tomorrow with Nicky. But we thought we'd try and do something a little bit different today. We're going to look at the next 4 games or 5 games if you look at we're playing Man United twice. So, yeah, something a little bit different. Not like a preview, but more of a very general way of thinking. How can we approach these games? What needs to stay the same? What went well in the last few games? And what needs to change? As always, I'm joined here with Rich. How's it going?
Yeah, my belly is wrapped. Guys, so I went to the Fortnite Festival yesterday, yeah. And I'm actually quite picky when it comes to food anyway. So Steph's like, oh, do you want anything to eat? I said, no, I'm cool. But if you're going to get me anything, get me some rum punch. Went off, joined JC, did the stream yesterday. She brings home some food. She's paid for it, obviously. I'm thinking, I can't say no. I've been up since 2 a.m. It's been a mess. It's been a mess. But I'm good.
And also, all the way from back of the nest, we've got Patrick. Patrick, how's it going?
Good, JC. How are you?
Yeah, man, all good. Work from home today. I hate work from home, but it's got to be done, man. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing this stream. It's not too in depth, but gonna look at the next upcoming games. So for all you guys that aren't up to date, upcoming games are Villa on Saturday, Villa away, then it's Fulham at home, and then it's double Man United away. So we've got Man United on the 26th, which I believe is a Tuesday night. And then we've got Man United on the Saturday. So I'm sure the team will probably stay up there. And then we've got Nottingham Forest at home before there's another week break. Looking at the Villa game, because it's the first one, what would you think their starts of the season's like, Patrick? How do you think that they've started off this season?
I think they've been okay, actually. I mean, I know they had a tough result recently, but I think just in general, I think they've got a good manager in place. They made some really good astute signings. I know that who just left and went to Saudi.
Coutinho
left their team. Right, Coutinho's left there, so which is not a big loss because they're pretty stacked in his position anyway. So I think they've been off to a decent start. I think the Fed might be disappointed in the last result they had, but just in general, I think Villa's off to a pretty decent start for them. And they've got Europe coming up. They did a good job in Europe, obviously in the initial stages of the were they in Europa League? Yeah. Or in Conference League, right? Same as West Ham last year. So I think they're off to a decent start this season.
They're currently sitting in 10th place. Rich, we know that we've done the tier list on each team's transfer business, but how do you think that the new transfers that have come into Villa have helped them out this season so far?
I tell you what, their scouting network's pretty impressive. What they spent about close to like 200 or maybe even more in the market. That Diaby looks an absolute beast of a player.
Yeah.
The fact that they lost Mings and like within a week they got Pau Torres in, like they're efficient. They're very efficient. As Patrick was saying, and sorry for the noise in the background, the girls are having a lot of fun. As Patrick said, that they'll be disappointed with some of those results. And I mean, obviously, I know we're not going to tactically delve into that, but that high line of theirs is an area we might have to try and exploit. But yeah, they've had a very good start.
Definitely. And if it's something that you think we can exploit, do we have the players with the kind of pace that we need to exploit that high line?
That's a whole nother question there. You know what? We may have to go 4-4-2 for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, one striker alone, I don't think we will. So yeah, I think if we go 4-4-2, I think we could exploit the island.
Definitely. I think with Emery's style of football as well, it's very much possession based. So we'll be playing on the break. And I think as a Roy Hodgson team, that is sort of his speciality, where we have previously played really well in that kind of system. Patrick, how do you think that Roy's set us up? Like, how do you think he's done well in the last few games, and what could we take some of those transferable skills into this game?
To be honest, I haven't really liked the way he's set up to start the matches. I think it's a needs must type thing. Not having Elise, not having France has been a problem. So you don't really have and obviously not having Zaha, who's not here anymore, has been a problem with the wide players. I think he's done a great job though in second half adjustments and making those subs. So I think the lineup that we're going to see on Saturday can be the same one we've seen the entire time. It's going to be the same back four, Mitchell, Gehi, Anderson, Ward. Goalkeeper will be interesting. I mean, I know Johnstone's away with England right now, but he didn't have a great last couple of matches, and now Henderson's in and has had a week now to train. Interesting to see if Henderson gets in there at some point. Probably more for United Cup game, but I think that's going to be interesting to see. The midfield two of Lerma and Decoy, I absolutely love the two of them. They complement each other really well. I love what Lerma's brought to the side, his heading ability, winning tackles. He's freed up Decoy to get a little bit more forward thinking and get some passes in the attacking third. But then you come to the area of need, which is the left side with Schlupp. Ayu's been great. Edouard's been great. Eze's been really good. Borderline great. But the issue is Schlupp. But I mean, again, if anybody knows the manager, he's going to keep playing him because he values what he does. And I know that people don't see and understand why Schlupp plays. I watched the last game back about 3 or 4 times to kind of get an idea. I just wanted to watch just what Schlupp was doing because I know everybody talks about him. And if you watch the game again, he really focused on staying central and blocking out the middle. I'm trying to remember the player. The player, I'll look it up right now. The Wolves player, he was not necessarily marking, but kind of closed down the space for me. Because give me 1 second, I'll look it up right now. There was a Wolves player in the middle of the pitch that he basically stood there the entire match.
Was it Nunez?
It was no, Gomez. It was Gomez, João Gomez. If you watch it again, he did a job of just kind of sticking around. But I know Gomez is more of an attacking midfielder, but he was trying to block out the lane so Nunez couldn't, use those. And what that able to do, that gave Mitchell a lot more freedom out wide left. That's why Mitchell got that cross in for the goal for Edouard. So I know that he doesn't bring a lot to the team. And I know people are saying he's not Wolf, he doesn't get forward enough. But I think he has a role to play in that system that the manager wants to play right now. I know Rich mentioned just now the 4-4-2. I love the idea of it, but honestly, if we go 4-4-2 from the beginning of the match, what happens if we're down at a goal at halftime? We can't change it up because now you already have Edouard and Mateta on the pitch. That's why I love the idea of it, but in practicality, I can't see a 4-4-2 working for us because we don't have anything on the bench right now to change it up. So I think you stick with what we have, and if you can bring Mateta on late and then move, Edouard into the hole behind him, and then you free up space on the outside with maybe Eze out there, I think it works better. But I get the idea of the 4-4-2. I just don't think it works from the beginning of the match.
Yeah, it's sort of very similar to how Hodgson was with his last stint with us, where it was always, well, to me, going to the matches and watching it, I always saw it as first half, you get in 0-0, and then Hodgson makes a change. Hodgson will stink out the place, keep that 0-0, and then as it's there, then we push on in the second half. Because I'm sure when Hodgson was around, I'm sure that we had like the most points gained in the second half because that's when we only ever scored goals. I'm sure that season we only scored like 3 goals in the first half, and the rest were in the second half.
Yep.
It just shows that we are a team of 2 halves, really. We won't do nothing in the first half, but in the second half, we'll make a change and start to go at them. Tactically, it's okay, but if Roy's tactic of getting that 0-0 at half time, if that goes out the window in the first 5 minutes, the game's over. There's no point.
Yeah, I agree with that. And but again, it's the lack of bench options. Now I've noticed Elise has been training and they ramped it up, so he might be available. If not for Villa, maybe after Villa. So that would be great to have him back front. So I don't have hope for him, but he does have options. He does have a Hamada and he does have Raksaki. Does he trust them? No, because they're too young for him, obviously. But you have that option. You just put IU on the other side, on the left side, and you have Raksaki on the right side. To me, that solves a problem. But again, I understand the frustration of the fans with Schlupp, but he likes him as a player. And unless something drastic happens, like an injury, I don't see Schlupp getting benched. I really don't.
Yeah, Hodgson doesn't enjoy changing a winning team,
Nope.
does he?
No.
If the team wins, don't care who's playing in that team, as long as it's winning, he will keep that team.
Exactly. Frustrating for us, but I get the practicality of it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it sort of maybe a little bit superstitious on his part as well.
Yeah, old school, exactly.
Yeah, of course. That's the stuff that we want to change. What do we think that? Well, that's the stuff we want to keep the same. What do you think that maybe we need to change up? Because we've already touched on, like, we would like to play that 4-4-2, but then we wouldn't have any bench options. Do you think there's any ways of maybe getting around that issue?
Honestly, the only thing I think of with the current lineup is to just switch Eze and Schlupp, push Schlupp in the midfield and put Eze out wide, because that gives you that ability to have Eze coming off the left, cutting inside. It gives you solidity in the midfield with we saw it. What game was that? Brentford, right? When he went to push Schlupp in the middle with a Lerma
Yeah.
and
it was Sheffield United.
Was it United? Okay, I know he did it at one match and he subbed and he moved him into the middle. Whatever match it was, I know that it felt like it worked and it gave Eze a little more freedom. But again, I kind of like Eze where he is now. I like the fact that he can stay in the middle, go left, go right, go wherever.
Yeah, in the middle he can.
Left. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, in the middle he can dictate the whole pitch, rather than if he's on the left, he can only do what he needs to do in that small area.
Right,
I guess you could do that, or you've said it before about Ahamada is not going to get game time because he's too young. Maybe push Eze out wide, put Ahamada in the 10 because he works pretty well in the 10. We've seen it in preseason. I know you can't really go off preseason, but I think he was probably our standout there.
I saw him in Chicago live. He's a good player. There's a lot of that people don't understand about him. I know he is young. I guess he's only 20 now. About the same age. He's actually, I think he's younger than Jez. But there's a lot about his game that I like. He's very effective. He can play the attacking mid. He can play defensive mid. He can play the boxer role. He's very flexible. He's got good feet. He can pass the ball. And then again, there's the Jez factor. I know people talk about how Jez has only done it in League One, but he had a great season last year for Charlton. He really did. And I think if you put him, even that little cameo he had against Arsenal, he was excited for the game. They gave a no-look pass that IU didn't read.
Yeah,
even that as an option is another one, So,
yeah, he had a run and he beat Zinchenko, and he's probably one of the best left backs in the league right now.
Right,
and also he had a pretty good account for himself in the Plymouth game. I know he got taken off when we brought on all the big guns, and I would have liked to see him stay on for a bit longer with them. But still, even though he was marginally offside, he took his goal well. He was making chances. He put two chances on a plate for Mateta, and he just fluffed them. So, with Wan-Bissaka, it was sink or swim, and he swam. So why not have a similar thing with Jez? Because we're in a similar situation with no cover at that right wing position. So why not throw him in for a game or two? And if you're gonna do it, why not do it in, I don't know, maybe the United game in the cup? Because granted, it's the Carabao Cup, and we're never gonna go for it. I think we know this as Palace fans. We're already too deep into this cup. This is uncharted territory already.
Right, exactly. Another round further, yeah.
But why not throw him in? We'll see what happens.
I'm with you on that. I'd love to see him play against United, and because they're going. I mean, we can get to that game in a minute, but they're in the mud right now as far as they've lost Anthony. They've the whole Sancho which is going on. They've got issues with other players. They're not gonna. They've got Champions League. They're not going to worry about. I mean, they won it last year. They're not going to worry about winning it second in a row. I mean, I know he thinks that he values the cups, Ten Hag, but they can't go for the Carabao Cup again this season. They're going to put out a weakened side, so there's no reason why we can't go there and beat them. But again, depends how seriously we take it. So.
Yeah, 100%. Do you know what's happened with Sancho? Because I've heard a lot of talk about it, but I don't actually know exactly what's happened.
So basically, because I I have a couple of United friends. One being my brother's a big United fan. Basically, Ten Hag was asked a question post-match about where Sancho was because he wasn't in the squad for the last match. I guess that was the Arsenal game. He made a comment that he's not trained well. Sancho put out a post, I guess, on Instagram saying that that's all lies. There's being things said about me that aren't true. Then that became a big deal, and then the media got a hold of it and got all upset. Apparently, they both have met today. He and Ten Hag behind closed doors because I guess this is the first day the players supposed to come back who were not on international duty for training. But I don't know what happened today. But the fact of the matter is, Anthony's going to be out for a while because that whole assault issue is going to be a massive deal for them after the Greenwood issue. They're going to need him to play. Whether he chooses to play Sancho or not, I don't know. That's on the manager. But they have a major hole on the right side if they're going to play Palestri, which, like we had, there's like the Raksaki issue. He doesn't want to play, doesn't trust the kid in that position. So Palestri hasn't really got a chance there. So and Diallo's out injured. So they're short. So I mean that's the United problem. But yeah, that issue with Sancho is a big deal. I heard he might be going to Dortmund in January because they might come back in for him. I think I think United career is basically going to be done because with that, when you question the manager in public like that, it usually doesn't end well for a player. You know what I mean?
So sort of similar to how Vieira dug out Edouard after the Villa game.
Except that Edouard didn't put out
Edouard didn't clap back. He just took it.
Exactly right. Exactly. Which is where honestly, I hate to say it, I say you kind of have to deal with it because if you clap back, if you're Ronaldo clapped back with the interview, and then where's he now? He's in Saudi, so you know how that works out. So
yeah, his bank account's happy, but I'm sure that he'd rather be playing better.
He was happy before Saudi, but he's happier now.
Yeah. On to the next game now is Fulham at home the week after. They've probably had one of the weaker transfer windows and pretty looking like they're doing well in the league. They're 13th. One win, 2 defeats, and 1 draw.
Right.
They've lost their star man in Mitrovic, and they've replaced him with Jimenez, I believe. Yeah. And they spent £22 million on Alex Iwobi. Granted, that's not the best signing in the world, and because I said that, he's probably going to score against Palace now.
Right, that too, yeah.
But they've still got some really good players in there. Adama Traore on a free is probably something that maybe Palace could have taken advantage of until Elise comes back, for example. Paulinho, Pereira's had an incredible season last year. Harry Wilson, and even like some people that go under the radar, like Harrison Reed.
Right.
How do you think that game could pan out? Because we are at home in this game, which will probably change the game only slightly. But Fulham seem to be a bit of a team that we struggle with every so often. We can either do really well against them or we'll be really bad against them.
Yeah, that's a match I'm going to look for us to get a win because, again, you just mentioned it. They've had a lot of upheaval. Losing Mitrovic was a big deal, especially with the whole he's going to Saudi, he's not going to Saudi. They didn't really play. I think they brought Jimenez in as a an idea, but they don't think they were planning to lose Mitrovic at the start. I think they wanted to bring him to supplement Mitrovic, not to replace him. That's been a big deal for me. That's a big miss. And then the Paulinho issue, man. Paulinho was supposed to go into Bayern Munich at one point. He was almost there, and then something happened at the last minute, and that deal got off, and he's back. He would end up going back to Fulham. Missed their last game against the City game when they lost 5-1. They're off to a really strange start. I don't get why this. The one team they've beaten has been Everton. We know how bad Everton are, but they lost Brentford 3-0 at home. They lost 5-1 away to City. Anybody can lose that game. They did get a draw against Arsenal away, which is a big point. But they're strange this year. I don't know. I really rate the manager. Kind of always have, even though he's kind of a nomad when he goes from club to club. But you're right about they have some underrated players. I mean, they've got Anthony Robinson and Tim Ream, the American players are playing on defense. Who I watch a lot. Very good.
I don't know why, but whenever I see Bobby Reed play, I'm like, he's a guy I want at Palace. I don't know why. He's a striker that can't score goals, but I just see him as a player that I think he's a good player.
Yeah, I like him to play for Jamaica National. I watch him a lot too. So yeah, I mean, they've got some interesting players. You're right. They don't have these big stars, but they have a good squad of players, and the manager has to out of them. They've had a really rough start. I don't understand it. Hopefully we can take advantage of that. But I mean, they got Luton next this week. That's a game they kind of have to win. I mean, you said they're in 14th place, but they can't really afford to lose to Luton at home. After that, they haven't had the easiest start to the season so far. But that's a game again at home. You're right. We don't play them well necessarily, but that's a game I'm really going to look at for us to get the 3 points out, because again, it's a kind of a game where we have to get the points off of this early in the season.
Yeah, they're a bit of a strange club, because like I believe when they came up a few years ago, we beat them first game of the season 2-0.
Right.
But then, as Henry here is saying, that he wants revenge from last season, because that was a pretty dreadful performance last season.
It was.
So it is very up and down. It's not like Brentford where it's a draw every time. It's always something going on in this game.
Yeah. I'm looking at it now. 3-0 at home. Right, Boxing Day. Mitrovic. The red card to Tyreek Mitchell, the red card to James Tompkins. See, that's the thing about that game. I remember that game, people getting mad at Vieira for that loss and being mad. I'm saying, it's like, what are you supposed to do with 9 men against the team?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it wasn't a great loss, but yeah,
9 men.
I remember people were mad again. But we had 2 red cards. That never happened in Premier League. We had 2 red cards in that match. I mean,
I'm sure it was, what was it? It was 9 men. I think Mitchell just came back from an injury, so he was just getting back into the swing of things. And Anderson was injured, so you had Tompkins in there.
Tompkins starting, exactly, yep.
And I think that was in the purple patch where William was scoring every other game.
Yep.
And yeah, it was just not. It wasn't a good day for be a Palace fan. Let's be real.
That was a mad day. That was mad. 3-0 at home to
Definitely. Caleb here saying Kenny Tete for Fulham is a baller at right back. Yeah, also another very underrated player. You probably watch him play and think, oh, he's decent right back, but then at the end of every season, he's always in the top 5 for most stats for fullbacks in the league. He's always up there. He's doing well. So yeah, 100% good player.
Yeah.
Rich, what's your thoughts on the Fulham game?
Sorry, I went to go on the shower, Nev. Fulham, it's weird. They seem weaker than they were last year, but that means nothing. Marco Silva, I think he's done a good job with them, to be honest. A very good job. I know, obviously, you mentioned it will be transfer. Sod's Law, he's going to do something against us. No, I'm coming to you. But I think if we're going to beat, this is the time to beat them. Listen, they came to our turf, rolled us over. We had 2 red cards, obviously, but I don't even think we played well that game. Yeah, I don't even think we played well, And honestly, we have to win those 2 home games. I know we haven't touched on Forest yet, but I'm 6 out of 12. I'm looking at. I'll be happy with 7.
I'm with you on that.
I'll be happy with 7.
Mm-hmm. So sort of doing the same, similar to what we've done in the first 4 games. If we get the same amount of points,
that'll be a great start.
We'll be happy.
Dad, I'll send it to you now.
Oh, I've already put it in the chat, mate. Well, yeah, I think the next couple of games, you probably look at it from just looking at its purposes. You say the Villa game's going to be really tough, or every game's going to be tough in the Premier League. Let's be real, but the Villa game, you probably say you're going to really struggle to get a draw there. You're going to want to get a win against Fulham and a win against Forest, and the Man United game, because of how up and down they are, you don't know what team you're going to get. And also the fact that we're playing them in the league, which is probably the more important game after, probably means that we're probably going to do better against them in the cup and then probably lose to them in the league. But I'd rather it be the other way around. I really would.
Yeah, without a doubt, I'd much rather lose the league game and win the cup game. I'm sorry. I know we can't win the Carabao Cup, but I'm still going to hold out hope that we can get there along through in that competition. But I definitely would take a loss in the league and a win in the cup that week for sure. But we'll see what happens.
Definitely. Dan, how's it going?
Yeah, all good. I finished posting the thread, so if anyone wants to go see it, it's there now.
Who's the thread on, mate?
I done it on Ryan Shirky.
Oh,
because,
my Leon, I like that kid. He's a good player.
because I think he's excellent, and I think, and it's only off the back of if Elise or Ebbs was to go. I don't think we would afford him otherwise, but yeah. But I did a little thread on him, so if anyone wants to see it, it's on the Eagle Eye Ball page right now.
Nice.
Well, as you've just come in, Dan,
Yeah.
you can quickly recap the games we've already covered. So Villa away and Fulham at home. What should we change? What should we keep the same? And what do you think is going to happen in those two games?
Keep the same. I think defensively and as a core, I think we're brilliant. I've said it pretty much every week, I think now. Like defensively, and then Lerma and Decore, Ebbs, like I mean, they're all brilliant, as well as having two brilliant goalkeepers now as well. I think we should change without slagging him off directly, Jeff Schlupp. I think he's fine as like a box-to-box midfielder who maybe comes on a bit later in the game and is able to run at players and have a shot. I feel like on the wing he doesn't do that. He doesn't provide enough width. So I'd like to see it changed up a little bit. Personally, I wouldn't mind seeing a front three of Eddie on the left with either Mateta or Ayew. Well, actually, no, not Ayew, sorry. Mateta down the middle. Only Ayew in the middle if Elise is happy to play 90 minutes again. I don't know when that'll be. That's what I think we should change. I think Villa are very good. I think they have lost twice this season, but to be fair to them, they were both away games and they were both to Liverpool and Newcastle. So going to theirs is going to be tough. And also we don't have a very good record there anyway. So that's what I think on Villa. What was next? Fulham, isn't it?
Fulham.
I actually, statistically, Fulham have been terrible this season so far. Statistically, they have the biggest difference, I think, or one of the biggest differences between their chances created and their chances conceded in terms of expected goals. Whether you believe in that or not, generally teams that do that, show that, don't tend to have a good time. Very good example. They might do well for like a season, but generally after that, it tends to go bad. Great example of that, Leicester. The season before last, they finished 8th, but with again terrible stats, like I just said. And then obviously last season they got relegated, playing pretty much the same way. So you know, I think we should be beating Fulham, especially at home. I put it in the same category as Wolves, where you know, obviously, you know, don't get me wrong, they're more than capable of beating us or drawing against us. But if we want to finish top half, these are the kind of teams that we need to beat. And like I said, for me, the tactics would be no difference. Like I said about Villa, only difference I imagine Elise will probably be ready by then. So then I wouldn't actually be against having Ayew down the middle and then Mateta on later as an impact sub. And then who is after that?
So now we're going on to the cup game against Man United. So our first.
Okay,
so just before that, JC, Dan mentioned Elise. I think we're all desperate for him to be back.
We don't.
But how much do we rush him back?
I'm only saying that because I literally have no idea like how I haven't really kept up to like what his fitness is or anything like that.
Colin said he'll be back for the Fulham game.
All right, fair enough. As I said, like as long as he's happy playing the minutes, then that's fine by me. Like I said, I haven't really kept up with his exact progress so far, and to be honest, I can't even remember when he got injured or whether he played pre-season. So yeah, I only say Elise in if he's comfortable playing that and the physios are happy with that. Certainly, I don't think rush him. I think a front three of Eddie, Mateta, and Ayew, I think is okay for those games.
Yeah, I think the thing about rushing it is obviously that article that came out about Zaha at Galatasaray.
I was gonna say mention that, yeah.
Yeah, because I know that Zaha said he must have said to the club, "Yeah, I'm fit, I'm ready," but it's a bit upsetting to know that potentially he's ruined his chances of playing deep into the Champions League because he was trying so hard for us, and we don't want that to happen for Elise because we know that Elise is going to go sooner than later. That contract extension is purely to help the club out.
Exactly.
And we don't. And I think as a Palace fan, obviously you want as much money to set when you sell players as possible, but you want to see a player that's come through Crystal Palace and absolutely killing it at the top level. And I think that with Elise, I don't want to ruin his future career just for a few games right now.
Dan,
no,
I gotta ask you to have you on. Jason, I was talking about before about Schlupp, and so what I did was I went back and watched the
Wolves
last
game.
game we played, the Wolves game again, just to see what his positioning. I just watched it just to watch him. But whenever the camera had was wide, I got to watch him. And also he stayed very, very central in that game. He was really like staying a lot where João Gomez plays in the central. I think that was a tactic. I don't know if you've done that yet, but have you taken a look at how Schlupp's playing under the manager this season versus in the previous season? Because I just don't think people keep saying he's not doing anything, and I want to agree with that, but I can't agree with it because there's no reason for him to be picked if he's not doing anything for the team. And I think he's being used more as a to block the lanes in the middle, those so that they can't either counter us or get those balls through the middle. And he's not used as an outlet. He's not a world replacement. He's not trying to get wide. That's Mitchell, using that width to get wide on the left hand side. And I just wanted to know if you could take a look at how Schlupp's been used this season as opposed to maybe in the seasons past. Because last season he played obviously more as a midfield player. So
yeah, no, that would be something very interesting to look at. I think the main problem for him is that I think he's being asked to play a role that he doesn't like. So I can't really remember under Vieira. I know he did play there he did play there a couple of times, but I can't. I don't really remember. I don't really remember it enough for him actually playing as a left winger.
Exactly.
To say. So I think it's more he's been asked to play a position that he's not 100% confident because we don't really have anyone else that Roy thinks can play there. I think it's more an options thing.
Yeah, I think it's very similar to if you remember funny enough, when Roy was our manager the last time, and I think Zaha was injured, and we trialed playing Schlupp at left back and Van Arno at left wing. It reminds me sort of that, like that the left winger had no idea what he was doing.
Right.
Let's go into some comments before we carry on. Big up Earth. He's having a good chicken tikka masala. Making me hungry, man.
Earth, don't talk food right now, please. Speak.
Yeah, I'm well hungry as well, Yeah, so don't do that.
Don't worry, Dan. Rich is saying this peak for a whole different reason.
Oh, okay.
Right,
yeah.
Soon we seeing Elise, Eze, and Frank together. That's the day that happens, we're gonna see something great. Hopefully. No need to change if it's not broken. I think that's when me and Patrick were talking about Roy not changing a winning team. Get better soon, Rich. We've got Super Ayu. That song, by the way, needs to get going around Sellers because that is a banger.
That is a great song.
More importantly, happy birthday, Jordan Ayu. Birthday today.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
It's funny, probably our best song in ages has just been made up by some drunk lads on the bus.
I saw that, yeah. That makes sense.
Colin here.
So good.
Yeah. Colin here says, what's your thoughts on Southgate probably being our manager next season?
I'm not looking forward to it, but it happens, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I prefer.
Yeah, I've accepted it already.
Inevitability, exactly.
You know the stages of grieving. I started early.
Yeah, I'm there early. I'm there with you, Rich. I started early. Yeah. Me too.
Saying we've got to prepare ourselves for the fridge freezer Maguire to come into Palace.
Yeah, that next too. Yeah.
Iwobi debut against us. Top players leave. Edward and Mateta cooking. Finally continue some more attacking threat. Elisa back for Fulham. Big up Mange. Should sign Kenny Tete on a free. Is he out of contract at the end of the season?
Well, as in the Fulham Kenny Tete?
Yeah.
Interesting.
If he is, then... But then again, though, we don't buy fullbacks, so there's no point.
Well, he'd be on the free, so does that count as buying?
No, it's still fullback. Onto the cup now, and as I said before with Patrick, this is uncharted territory. We normally crash out at the first point of call. But against Man United, who are in a bit of turmoil right now, we are playing them twice. As we know, the most important game is definitely the league game. But this game is sort of, I guess, sort of a trial game. We can put a team forwards that we won't necessarily play in the league. So potentially we could be seeing the Jez or other players like Hamada maybe playing in this game. Maybe a Chris Richards could play because he played really well for America, I believe.
He did. Really did. Yep.
So, you know, Rich, what's your thoughts on obviously Palace in the Cup, considering that we clearly don't have the squad depth for it? Do you think that we should go with a more experimental kind of team, or do you think that we should stick to our guns and go full strength and try and go for this cup as well?
I've been changing my mind about this one, you know. At first I'm thinking, we started well in the league, let's keep the momentum up. But then I'm also thinking, if we're going to play United, this is the best time to play them. They may have a few players back from injury. But yeah, you know what, go for the cup. Why not? Because I think after the next round, it's quarterfinals. You know, so if we do beat United, then it's another round, then it's quarters. I could be wrong. It might be quarters after this round. I don't know, but it's not too far away. Because like I said, we're in uncharted territory. We don't normally win cup games anyway. So yeah, go for the cup. Go for the cup.
Patrick, same question to you.
I said it before. I'm all for a cup run. United again won it last year. There's no reason for them to go for it again. It doesn't necessarily mean anything to Ten Hag. They're in the Champions League. They got Bayern Munich in Champions League either right before or right after that game. They're in turmoil player-wise. They got a few injuries. They are having some players come back, but they still have. Last time I checked, Martinez was out. Got injured. You know, they had to go. So did the other. They had Maguire and Evans at centre half. Their last game ended up. So they've got injuries. I'm all for the cup run. It's in a weird time because, like I said, they've got some tough fixtures in and around when we play them. Beating them in the league, I think they actually have an excellent home record in the league. Last season under Ten Hag, I don't think they lost more than one game last season at Old Trafford. The cup, they may not be up for it. They may not be taking this seriously. I don't see why we'd rest any players. I'm all for giving Jez a run. Don't get me wrong, but there's no reason why we can't go our strongest lineup. We're not like we're in any European competitions right now. We just had off a European, we're going to be off an international break. If players are rested and can play, I don't see why we shouldn't go as strong as we can. Maybe one or two changes. I don't want to see a Plymouth lineup that we had. Plymouth, the lineup will not beat Man United, even their second team. But there's no reason why you can't play Mateta, Edouard, Eze from the start. If you want to put Raksaki in there, great. If you want to put Richards in centre half, I wouldn't have a problem with that, or even Holding. But we've got another left back. It's going to have to be Mitchell. Play Klein at right back if you have to, and play Henderson in goal. But the midfield you can put Lerma and Decore in there, no problems for me, and let them play. So I'm all for a cup run. I'm going to keep saying that until we're knocked out of the league and the FA Cup. But I want a cup run. I want to win a cup. And for me, the league is important, but that chance of winning that game in the league anyway can be hard. You're sitting right now, if you give me a league loss and a cup win in a week and a half, I'll take that.
Yeah, because I think that if we do, let's say in hindsight, let's say we do get that win against them in the cup, right, we know damn well they're going to fix up for that league game.
Of course. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I only had us down to draw up there anyway. I think, I know I've moaned about the League Cup in the past and stuff like that, but I do think this time, I agree. I think we should go for it. Because I think, and yeah, I did just check, by the way, Rich, is after this, it will be the quarterfinals. So quarterfinals of the League Cup, win that, and then you're in the semi-finals. And I think as well, having, at the end of the day, what's going to impact our season more? Potentially getting to the quarterfinals, which could then potentially lead us to the semi-finals, or like not getting any points at Old Trafford away, which, let's be honest, I mean, at the beginning of the season, would any of us expected that anyway? Probably not.
Right.
So I'm happy. Like, if I had to choose a win between the two, it would probably be the cup. Also, as well, I think, yeah, I mean, they've got European football, we don't, and also I think we're kind of lucky in the sense that they're like, because of how it is, like we're literally like, they only have to travel once when you think about it. They only have to travel up for the Tuesday game. They could stay up there and train, and train up there, and then they're ready for the Saturday game. Which, I mean, I don't know if they fly or what. They probably do, but I mean that's a long 8-hour coach, which I've done that before. Is a long old journey. So I did it hungover too, so that made it even worse. But
well, funny enough, I've done that trip to Man United away on Rihanna's birthday, so that I was in a bit of trouble after that one.
Dan, when are you not hungover?
I'm not hungover that often, to be fair. I'm not hungover that often.
Well, what about now?
No, I'm fine now. I'm fine.
You sure?
Yeah. Maybe a little bit. No, I'm joking. No, I'm not. But yeah, I think, you know, we can also play it smart as well. I think we can catch United off guard. I don't see why we can't go for it and win that game, to be honest.
Cool. On to the final game now is Nottingham Forest at home. Now, they have lost Brennan Johnson late into the window, but they have brought in some absolute quality. And I know Rich knows exactly who I'm thinking about because I'm still fuming about it, but it is what it is. The new signings they've got, they have been doing maybe a few too many signings over the last few windows, but they've got a team full of quality now, and it's just a fact of Cooper's got to mesh it all together, and then he's got a really good team on his hands now. I think Elanga has been a pretty bright spark. Iwonyi is probably the most informed forwards in the league right now behind Haaland.
He's so good. Who
we definitely need to be aware of. Gibbs White, it's a lot of money they spent for him, but it seems to be coming through now. Ibrahim Sangare. Callum Hudson-Odoi for pretty much no money whatsoever, and Divock Origi to be on that bench as well. They've got incredible individuals, and if Cooper can get them playing like how they were playing the last few games, how they beat United. Was it United they beat?
No, they lost 3-2 to United. They were 2-0 up.
They beat Chelsea last game, didn't they?
That's it, Chelsea.
Yeah. Chelsea away.
I know Chelsea are all over the place, but still beating a team like that. Caleb says Aina as well on a free.
Yeah, it's good business.
Good business, good coach. A very tricky playing style as well. So we've got to change our whole game plan just to keep them under wraps. Struggled against them a lot last season, mostly away, but we done pretty well against them at home. It's going to be another tough game. As we said, no game in this Premier League is easy. But Rich, how do you think this game is going to go down? Bearing in mind this is 4 games into the future.
It is. I think the home factor is going to be massive. Because even when we did play them at Selhurst, minus that initial when you go, it was kind of a nothing game last game. It was very like, yeah, we're both safe sort of feel to it. But obviously this time round we're gonna have to be on the money. Because like you've mentioned the players, the threats. That midfield battle now is just so intriguing. Lerma, Doucouré, Sangare. You know, it's very, very intriguing. Very, very intriguing, you know. But yeah, defensively we're gonna have to be on it because whether it's Iwonyi, whether it's Gibbs White, Origi, Elanga, like they've got threats, and I think the plus side for them is that they've got threats coming off the bench as well. You know, and that kind of then goes to Patrick's point that obviously if we do tend to go 4-4-2 to start off with, and I didn't think about this, that we will have no option off the bench, but they've got loads. So yeah, we're gonna have to play this one smart.
Yeah, even people like Chris Wood and Emmanuel Dennis, they've got lots of firepower off that bench.
Jeez, they got Dennis as well, innit?
Yeah. Dan, how do you think we could set up against them? How do you think that we could maybe get that win?
That's a good question. Thing is, I really rate Steve Cooper as a manager. I think the only reason people don't rate him is because he's ugly as sin. But I think sorry, Steve. that.
Hey, Dan, that's harsh on Sin.
Oh, poor Steve. Yeah, I mean, I think he's a good manager, and I think he can adapt well. I haven't seen him loads this season, so I can't really say with certainty. But in the games I have seen briefly, they seem to just fall asleep sometimes, and they seem to be more vulnerable at the back. I would say if we were to play against them, we do need to go against them. The main thing to watch out for them, which now Brennan Johnson has left, has kind of softened it a little bit, but they're an incredible counter-attacking team. So they're happy to sit deep, like they're happy to do that, and then just hit you on the break. As I said, Brennan Johnson was rapid, and now he's gone. That will play into our favour. But having said
rapid, so they've just switched in and out.
Yeah, exactly. So they've got other players that can do it. So that's what I would say. Just watch out for the counter attack. Don't leave ourselves too exposed for the counter attack. Yeah, I can't really say much more because I haven't watched them too much this season yet. But yeah, but they will be a tough team to beat, even though it's away from home. I know last season they only won one game away from home last season, and now they've won one this season. So yeah, it'll be a tough game no matter what. Anyway.
Yeah, Patrick, how do you think the game's going to go pan out? Do you think that they're going to carry their pretty bad away form over into this game, or do you think that maybe this will be that one game of the season that they'll turn it on?
It's funny, Dan's right. They do have a poor away form, but this season already they lost 2-1 to Arsenal, a game I saw. They could have definitely gotten a point out of that game. They lost 3-2 to United away. Definitely could have got a point out of that game, and they beat Chelsea away. So even though they don't have the points away necessarily, they actually played well away from home this season. So I think that Cooper's addressed that really well. And like Dan, I'm a big fan of Cooper. When he won that World Cup for England under 17s, I became a big fan of his. I wanted him to come to Palace. What I like about him is he changes things up. He doesn't try to play one certain way. He changes his formation up. If he needs to play counter-attack, he'll play on the front foot if he has to, or if he can. The issue for me with them, honestly, is they brought a lot of new players in again. I can't believe they brought in that many players again 2 years in a row. That's going to be hard to integrate them. And he did a good job last year keeping them up. Like you, JC, the couple players they bought, I would have liked to have had at Palace, like Aina or Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi wasn't going to come Palace because of Chelsea, that issue with Chelsea and Olise. They weren't going to sell another player to us ever again, which is fine with me because I hate that club. But for how the game's going to go, it's going to be interesting. It's a game I focused on those 4 games. I've focused on getting points off of in the home matches at Fulham and this game against Forest. Rich said it before. Last year's home game was a dead rubber, last game of the season. We got the draw. We're both staying up, blah, blah, blah. But it's going to be an interesting game. But it's a game that I think we have to get the points off of. I mean, the away game last year, I still remember that game. It was right before the international break, the World Cup, sorry. I think we went on to lose to Newcastle in the Cup, or that happened right before. They both ran the same time last year. That whole phase in November was awful for us. That we lost was terrible. I mean, Wolf missed the penalty kick in that game, right? The penalty that he missed.
He missed
that penalty kick, right? And then Gibbs White had that goal, which I thought was offside, whatever. So it's a team we have to beat. I mean, they're a decent side. They're not great, but we've talked about that before. You got to beat the sides below us and in and around us in order to get that top 10 finish. And Forest at home is when as a match, we have to get points out of. And all 3, not just one. We've got to get all 3. Definitely. As far as the lineup concerned, hopefully by then, Lise's back. That will help a lot.
Yeah.
Have him back.
Caleb here says the low block against Chelsea was so hard to break through with some big centre-backs at the back as well. That's something that I think we've sort of come back into our shell a bit. We seem to have lost that sort of penetration through the midfield and into the back line as well. But I'm sure that is because of it is just which is our only creative outlet. And right. As you said, if Elise is there as well, then hopefully that'll take off some of the burden by then. But Rich, what I want to talk about with you is that they are sitting in 9th right now. They've got 2 wins and 2 losses, but every game that they've played, they've not disgraced themselves whatsoever. 2-1 against Arsenal, which they gave them a good game. Potentially could have been a draw or even a win for them. 2-1 against Sheffield United. I think we're going to look back on that Sheffield United win and see that as a really good 3 points in the future. 3-2 against Man United, and they had a red card in that game as well, so they didn't disgrace themselves there, and they beat Chelsea.
Yep.
We're going up against a very good team here. What exactly in their team are you fearful of, that they can keep grinding out these results and making games close?
That I want you eat that is a massive problem. No, it's literally their pace on the break, and Cooper's not stupid. They're not going to be breaking down their right hand side. Oh no! They are going to be breaking down their left. Morgan Gibbs White versus Wardy every time, and you know what? Anderson's going to have a tough game as well. Because I won he like the way he spun Ando the last time was mad.
Yeah,
he's going to literally pin himself to him. So, yeah. I mean, if they decide to play a low block, cool. I think I'll be a bit more comfortable knowing that we have possession. It may take a bit of time to break them down. That's fair enough. But as long as we're switched on defensively, then I think we can navigate the game really well. I think we can navigate. And if it's a case where then we score, the one thing that they're definitely very susceptible against is the break themselves, you know. So if it's a case we can force them, obviously, to come out of that low block, then yeah, we can get a couple of goals in that game.
Mm-hmm. Let's start wrapping it up now. So, in these 4 league games and the 1 cup game, what kind of points are we looking for? I'll start with you, Patrick. In the 4, are you looking for what, 6 points and a cup win, or what do you think?
Actually, I thought that before, 6 points and a cup win, but I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to say 7 points and a cup win. I want to get a point. Probably not United, Villa. This weekend's game, I want to get a point at that somehow, and then take the momentum into Fulham and then Forest at some point, and then the United Cup game. But I'm getting greedy, but I want the same we got from the last 4 games, the 7 points, which would be really good, and then get a cup win. That sets us up really well for the next international break. Plus, again, by that time, Lizzie's definitely going to be back. France has got to be close coming back. So by then, you're looking at more of a Palace side going into, November, December, and then the window's open again in January. God forbid we might actually buy an attacking player or a right back or left back option for Mitchell. But I know I'm asking for a lot there. But yeah, I'm looking for 7 points and a cup win for sure.
Rich?
Yeah, I'm going to be greedy as well. 7 points. But I think the point will come against United.
Wow.
That's where I think it will come. Just because, and this is me thinking that one of Varane or Martinez is injured still. It may not be the case, but if we see Harry Maguire or Johnny Evans in there, I think we've got a chance.
Or even both.
Yeah. And obviously, a cup win would be great as well. Yeah, you know what? 6 points. 6 points would be brilliant. It will be like however we get the 6 points. If we get 6 points, that is excellent. Like, if we're going to be proper realistic, even if we saw 5 points, we were like, that's not too bad. It's not great, but considering the players we have and the fixtures, it's going to be tough. And we just need to accumulate as much points as possible, because that December fixture list is stupid. It is tough.
Yeah, West Ham, Bournemouth, Liverpool, City, Brighton, Chelsea, Brentford, Arsenal.
Wait. It's not that bad. I'm going to be there for West Ham, Bournemouth, and Liverpool. So we're winning those 3 matches, trust me.
Love that.
We're good. I'm not coming over there to lose 3 matches. I'm telling you, we're winning those 3 matches. Guaranteed. Watch.
Dan, what do you think for the next coming games?
So before the stream, I went 7, and I agree with Rich. I actually think the point will come against United. I mean, to be honest, though, if we got 6 points, I'll be over the moon with that, to be honest, anyway. Yeah, I just think Villa's going to be hard. I think like if we've only got Eze available, I just don't see how we're gonna break them down. And yeah, I think, and I just think United are in a bit of a state at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Cup, Dan. What about the cup?
Before I said loss, but I'll go win now. Go on then. Why
I
not?
like it. Love it.
Well, I'm gonna go for 6 points from the league. Probably looking at a loss against Villa, a win against Fulham, and a win against Forest. That's what I would look for. But if the 6 points come elsewhere, I don't really care. As long as it's 6 points, keep that scoreboard ticking up. If it's over a point a game, then I'm happy. I'm going to be realistic. I think we're going to lose in the cup because we're already in uncharted territory, and you never know what's going to happen. I'm just going to, in my mind, I'm being realistic. I think we're going to put out the same team we did against Plymouth, and we're going to get pumped by Man United because we've seen worse happen.
Yeah,
But we did beat them in the cup with Ambrose and Zaha and people like that back in the day. So you never know. This could be Jez's moment. Because that game was the moment the world knew who Wilfried Zaha was. Maybe this could be the Ratsaki moment. You never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go 6 points and probably a Man United loss.
Who's gonna score the banger then?
Me.
Anderson.
You know what? I think I could definitely see that.
He's the only one that shoots from outside the box.
Lerma scored some bangers for Bournemouth. I'll throw his hat in the ring.
He did.
You know what? I'm going to Corey. Bro hasn't even scored a goal for Palace yet. He needs a goal.
He's due one.
He's due one. He's having a lot of shots from outside the box this season, to be fair. It's just that everything's blocked whenever he shoots. But guys, thank you very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure. Patrick, please shout yourself out and the great work you do on Back of the Nest.
No, I appreciate it. You can catch me on Back of the Nest YouTube, and also I'm part of the new Back of the Nest preview podcast team. We're doing a pod this week, Thursday, dropping in your outlets probably Friday morning. So check out, Apple, Spotify, etc. So, but I appreciate you guys having me on.
Legend. You're a legend, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching. This has been Palace's Next 4 Fixtures stream on Eagle Eye Football. And guys, is there anything else we want to say?
7 points, please.
7 points on the cup run, please.
Anyway, guys, as always, up the Palace.
Up the
Eagles!